Now that you understand how your essay should evolve from observations to arguments, you need to learn how to integrate your evidence into those arguments, particularly evidence in the form of quotations from outside sources. As you can recall from my earlier presentations, claims are statements with which your reader can think either I agree or I disagree. They are built through observations, inferences, assumptions, and opinions, and each claim you make must support your thesis. Each claim you make must be supported by evidence. When you present evidence, the reader can think either that is true or that is false. In many instances, for undergraduates, particularly in freshman and sophomore level courses, evidence will be in the form of quotations from academic journals, books, websites, and other legitimate resources. You may not just stick a quotation into your essay. Any quotation you use, no matter how short or long, must be an integral part of the sentence in which it appears or the paragraph for longer block quotations. What you must keep in mind is that you need to lead into a quotation and then lead out of it. You need to provide a context for the quotation, and in most cases must do so in your own words. This can be confusing. In fact, integrating evidence into an essay is one of the more difficult aspects of writing academic papers. It will seem awkward to you at first, but the more you write, the more practice you will get, and the better at it you'll become. Let's take a look at what I mean by leading into and leading out of a quotation. This is a section from my doctoral dissertation. Please pause the video and read it through. We're focusing just on how to integrate quotations into your essay. I'll talk about MLA style citations and other aspects of using quotations in a future presentation. First, look at how I lead into using the quotations. Notice how the portions quoted from Cuman's writing, "The underground river was already flowing, and before there was a woman's movement," are all part of a sentence that begins with my own words. I blend my words and Cuman's together, being very careful to indicate whose words are whose, into a sentence that reads smoothly. Now look at how I lead out of the quoted material. I explain the significance of what I quoted. The poets wrote before the women's movement began, so their work helped women see something about their own lives. Let's look at another example. This one is where I used quotations from a primary source, a poem by Jane Kenyon. Again, please pause the video to read the selection through. As you can see here, I use quotations from different lines of the poem within my own sentences. I lead into using the quotations by explaining the situation the poem describes. I lead out of the quotations by explaining just what it is that the quotations mean altogether. Sometimes leading into and leading out of a quotation can be as simple as saying something like this. Please pause the video, read the quotation. Here I state the author's name and what she said, then very briefly rephrase Oestreicher's idea in a way that fits the point I'm trying to make. Very simple. What you should not do is use the word quotation to lead in or lead out of something you are citing. So you never ever say something in your essay like, "A good quotation is, male poets engage in quests," or Oestreicher's quote says, "Male poets engage in quests." Using quotation or quote as a lead-in or lead-out is awkward. It throws off the sentence's syntax. You could hear that when I read it. If you're not quite sure how to phrase your lead-in, keep it simple. Oestreicher writes, "Male poets engage in quests," or Oestreicher says, "Male poets engage in quests." This is going to take some practice. The best way to become comfortable with how you integrate evidence, quotations, into your essay is to read a lot of books and articles that include quotations. Look at the different ways in which the authors lead into and lead out of the material they are quoting. Not all of them are going to do these things well, of course, but most of them are. As you read material for your other courses, make notes on ways of leading into and leading out of quotations that you find particularly effective, and use them as models for your own essays.